morning. Happy Monday morning. It's June the 29th, boy. July is screaming down on top of us. I mean, just screaming down on top of us. June is going away strongly but quickly. Just a couple days left, and we'll be in Freedom Month. Freedom Month, big celebration. 250. Hope you got great July 4th plans. Freedom, celebrate it. We better. Telling you, we're fighting it the keeping of it every day. Every day. It's good to be here. 6:08 Eastern Standard Time. And it's going to be a hot week in the Southeast. Not sure about the rest of the country. But the totality of the Southeast is burn city. Triple digits possibility in some areas. High humidity. Extremely, extremely hot. So stay cool if you can. Not a good time for any kind of hiccup with power through storms or air conditioner failure. Those people in HVAC will be extremely busy, like they are the dead of winter. People be rushing. They have ignored their system, and there's always the possibility of some sort of power shed too. Some of the systems across the United States are not in a great shape. We're pretty good here, but even here, Tennessee Valley Authority puts out the notification, conserve energy, or we could see some outages be maxed out, and that's with a nuclear power plant, a couple of them, maybe 3 of them. I think they have an operation at least. One big one, Sequoia, but I forget how many miles it is from here, 25 or so. Enough I'm in the meltdown zone. Anything ever happens, I'll be with Jesus. With it instantaneously, pretty much. So, or if it's longer than that, it wouldn't take long. We appreciate the good clean power though. But yeah, it's gonna be really, really hot. Comes around every year. It's not global warming. This is gonna kick in pretty hard. But it is that time of year, right on time for July, August. Get ready for the sweat. Check on the elderly, the pets, all those things. Make sure they have a cool place to get and plenty of water, good clean water for those pets. Something to replenish for a human, especially. And just take care of yourself. You know, it's always extreme winter. Somebody gets out, they get a heavy snow. They get out there shoveling snow. It's not some activity that they do every day. Push themselves. Next thing you know, cardiac arrest. Got to pace yourself. Middle of summer. You're used to mowing your yard maybe one time. You go out, mow it, and done. Maybe right now you take a little bit more break. Even for the young. Nothing wrong with taking a little break. Not getting crazy with it. Got to be careful. Take care of yourself. Never know what might happen. And for us men, we're the most stubborn. As many of you know, my wife passed away. Some of you may not know. Yesterday was 9 weeks, I believe that was. 8 weeks, 9 weeks, maybe 8 weeks. Start losing track. I think it's 8.5 weeks. Anyway, whatever the case may be, you count the days up. I know it's at least 8 weeks. All the people I know, I'll say there's not a bunch of them out there. All the people I know that are widowed are women. Usually the men are going first because they push themselves, don't go doctor and all those things. Got to take care of yourself. Don't be foolish. Word of the day. Oh, I like this. Paul remembering the people, so kind to him. He wrote them and said, I thank my God upon every remembrance of you. I wonder if how many people think of that about us. Some people may not like us. I get it. You can't make people like you. Nor should you try. You should be a good person. You know, if someone's not a Christian, you can be nice. But certainly for those in the church and everything, it should be one of those like this. I thank my God upon every remembrance of you. If somebody thinks about us, they should just be thanking God for us. Some might be thinking the good Lord that we've moved away, that we're not in their midst. I hope not. Paul said, listen, I want you to know something. I thank my God upon every remembrance of you. What a nice thing to be said about someone. And as I'm sitting here reading that, I'm thinking about all the nice people, wonderful people in my life, including family. I thank my God upon every remembrance of them. You know, the kindness, the help, the prayers, just their just the enjoyment of the fellowship of being around someone who brings that kind of energy into your life. What a blessing that is to have somebody you just, it kind of touches you right there in the heart. You're like, oh, I'm so thankful to have them in my life. I don't know how many you have like that, but if you have them today, maybe drop them a note. That's for me too. Maybe drop them a note and just say, hey, I was thinking about you, and I just thank God that you're in my life. Well, it'd be a nice thing to do for some people. It'd be a nice thing to, kindness to be giving someone today. Like, no, I'll be having a tough Monday. Might be manic Monday. Is that what Bengals? I was trying to say Bojangles. Tongue twisted. Bengals. Just another manic Monday. Wasn't that them that sung that? My sister said that song was she especially liked one of my sisters, baby sister. I believe she said that once. That reminds her of her Mondays. That song. Yeah, manic Mondays. Let's pray for her. She's awesome. I noticed they do a lot of car shows. I noticed last night that someone they do car shows with, and I didn't get all the details. I'm assuming there was an accident on the highway as they were coming to the car show, and sadly, both of them died. I don't remember the names. Just caught it really late last night. They're, a few hours behind us, and it was, that's a community that, some people are really sad today. It can happen. Every day's a gift, but remember them. God knows who they are. But I thank my God for every remembrance of you. That's awesome. That's a wonderful thing to be said about anybody, and maybe some people that you think about in your history, they're not here anymore, but you just thank the Lord for the time that they were in your life. I think that about the crew here at the Wolf Nation Network. By the way, I'll save that thought just for a second. We got these new coffee mugs. It's got our logo on it, the Wolf Nation. We have a couple now. This is the network logo. We do have the Wolf itself. We'll be putting those on here as well. This is not, you see, I'm drinking it today. It being the coffee out of our new mug. And that's been a new offering in our store. I'm really pleased with those. I bought some for some of the crew. I got to get some more. We're going to give them to them for their, give of themselves the passion they have and the time they have. They get no money for what they do here. Maybe one day we make money. That's the plan. Make a little money to keep operations going. But maybe one day we'll be able to do that in a great way. But they give of their time. They have a passion for it. Put in a lot of hours every week, a lot of work. Some chaser, all the racing. He communicates with me regularly. He's amping up the news part of the SFP racing news. He's amping that up on and that's part of his duties. As he just always ready and willing to move ahead and do whatever he can. Biscuit Boy, partner in crime for so many shows. He jumps into all of them at one time or another, but we have some dedicated shows we do together. Jared Wolf, operations assistant. New on board, my son. He does so much. He's done it for a long time. He just did it. I finally just gave him a title and said, here, you know what? You need to be the operations assistant. You do a great job helping me behind the scenes. Now starting to come on camera a little bit. I never thought it'd happen. He's kind of getting used to things here. Marine, guarding the door, loves the racing, loves to be here. He comes along, all the racing. Thank you, Marine. Appreciate you, bud. Midnight Cowboy, not been here in a bit. He'll be back one day. He's just got a lot going on in his life. He's always part of crew. Midnight Cowboy, went to school with him. He's one of those people, all the ones I'm mentioning. You thank God for every remembrance of them. You just thank God for them. Our newest kind of folks come along, Dusty and Desi. Seen some nice pictures of them from Ohio, Lancaster. They're going to be getting married, and actually, it's just down to it's just a little less than a year now, I think, or maybe it's still a little more than a year. July next year, 27. We're trying to get their show kicked off the ground. I'm gonna get with them this week. And last but certainly not least, Cowboy Cook. Known the man for over 30 years. We went to school together. Known him closely over 30 years. I'll be 35. Be helping me with the fantasy football show, the Wolf Nation Fantasy Sports. We're going to kick that off this week. We've been saying it for about a month or more, but we'll get that kicked off this week. Miss Jen comes over and just helps us with the one show, and we're going to get that going again this week through the pet show. Another person, I don't have a nickname, Miss Jen. She's just Miss Jen. She's only on our network, but it's a powerful presence she brings. A lifelong friend now. Certainly thank God for every remembrance of her, everything she does, the kindness she has. We communicate often. It's just my schedule's been cray. But anyway, I mentioned all these people. I want to give them some time this morning. There's other people behind the scenes, but Cowboy Cook, he's our most faithful coffee customer and most faithful marketer of Wolf Nation. He loves all things. In fact, I have him a shirt in the studio. I just got to get him here. He has a busy schedule too. Take care of his mom. And I think the car's been tore up. So, those things happen. Life is tough. We know that. Maybe on this Monday, maybe it's you struggling to get by. Some people we know out there in the world of internet that we've met, wonderful friends with them. They're in the hospital today. Had to have some kind of emergency surgeries over the weekend. We won't say their name. That's not for us to do. God knows who they are. Let's talk about some news. The ceasefire was off. It's kind of on again. We'll see how far that goes. They're going to have some talks this week in Qatar. Is it Qatar? Yes. Aimed at dispute over the Strait. Here's the deal. It's I need to write a song about it. It's it's like a gang war. It's very simple, really. It's very simple. Yeah. Everybody, remember Opie in the Andy Griffith Show? Little Opie. He asked his pa for a nickel. He asked his Aunt B for a nickel. He asked Barney for a nickel. There's a lot of nickels going on. Well, it was cheap back then for the milk and stuff or whatever you used it for. I always wondered why he needed the nickel. I figured they just already. What's cheap? Think of lunches today. Well, I need $50 for the week for lunch or something at school. I certainly not far off that, really. Due to things that happened, they paid for a lot of the lunches in our area. Some of the schools qualified. We paid for it as taxpayers. Anyway, all these nickels going on. Wow, there's a bully on his way to school. I was wondering why he didn't change direction a little bit. Why did you have to walk down that sidewalk that day? I'd switch up on the old. He was bigger than him. Scared, taking those nickels, eating his peanut butter and jelly sandwich without a milk. Well, that bully is Iran right now. So you have Oman, and you have Iran through that strait. Oman on one side of the strait, Iran on the other. They have their territorial waters, which extends out. I don't remember what that is. 20 miles, whatever it is, the territorial waters. And then the rest is international free shipping lane. It's like that around the world. Oh, but we got a bully on the block, Iran. They want to charge tolls. Well, sure they do. That's what bullies always want. They want what you got. They want money. And they were able to get some money out of some people. So now they're thinking, hey, we now got more money we can get to fund terrorism in the area. $1 million of cargo, maybe for some ships, we charge them too, because we don't like them. So they started, they're mad over that. We said, no, shame. You're not going to do the strait that way. And the president said, I will take the tolls. Well, that made them mad. I don't even know how they can do. I mean, they got drones, a few speedboats left. They can lay some mines. We did a bombing campaign again, hitting some sites. Now there's a talk. These people will not agree. These talks are going nowheresville. They're not going to sit down and drink some nice coffee and have some Danishes, little croissants or whatever. Maybe somebody goes out and gets some Panera bread, brings that in. I don't know. I don't know what Qatar has. The Iranians in one room, Americans in the other, some Qatar diplomats going back and forth. I always wondered, do they eat and drink out in each room? Like, hey, what do you got this morning? We'll have some of that. Some donuts, fresh. They go to the Iranians and the Americans say, no tools. The Iranians say, well, that's ours. We're doing it. I don't think the talks can go much anywhere. I think it's a waste of time. I don't think it's going to happen. I think it'd be a very quick talk. It'd be back and forth like a tennis match. No, you're not charging tolls. Yes, we are. I don't know where you go with the talks on that. Honestly, when Opie wanted to keep his nickel, not have to eat peanut butter and jelly sandwich dry, well, he had to tell him no. He had to stand up to him. And the kid did exactly what he said he was going to do, right? He punched him right in the eyeball. Got the big old shiner. But Opie lit into him like a windmill. How did he say that? I can't remember what he said. A windmill I don't remember what it was. He got the nickels back. He must have did a good job. He got all his nickels back because he was giving Barney back his nickel and Pa his nickel. I guess he had Aunt B's nickel. Got some nickels back and said, you're not doing that again. Well, we've all had to deal with a bully. I mean, we really have. We have to deal with a bully. But anyway, the talks were, I had to happen on a seat. Mine was over a seat on a bus. I'll never forget it. I was in what we call junior high school then. I was a quiet kid. I just was real quiet. But I wasn't to be pushed around. Mr. Switchblade, that's what I call him because he was from Cali. He's about the size of a switchblade, him and his posse. And they thought, easy target, quiet boy. Get up out of that seat. That's mine. I'm not going to do it. And there you go. I'll never forget what this punk bully said. I hope he's doing well today. Hope he's a Christian. At the time, he was a punk and a bully. I'll never forget what he said. He goes, it's just a seat. Well, I knew then by then, if he's not swinging, it's not going to happen. I knew that. But it could still happen because he had his little posse back there hitting, get him. They didn't want to do it, but they wanted him to do it. I remember him saying, it's just a seat. I said, oh, no. It's much more than a seat. He said, what do you mean? I said, well, my daddy always told me they would be a punk like you. And when I said punk, boy, his eyes. Be a punk like you, come along. My dad always said if I could walk away from a fight, surely walk away. Nobody wants to fight. Why don't you have to? I said, but if you have to, then, that's what it is. It represents me not listening to you just because you say so. And that's a whole lot bigger than a seat. And he said, I will pummel you, or whatever he said. He probably used some curse words. I don't remember. And I said, you may, but I said, I'm going to tell you this before you take the first shot. Whatever I have, whatever I am, I will give you everything that I have. I won't stop until I'm stopped. The choice is yours. And he wavered. I knew he wasn't going to do it. Well, Iran will do it. They're a bully, and they're willing to back it up with whatever bombing mechanism they can do. And they're hitting all their partners, and now they've ticked off some neighbors over there. So now it's not just the Americans. These other countries, and I tried to tell people this, it was saying, why are we over there? We have no business, and it's all about energy and blah, 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 blah. Whatever you want to say, that's fine. I can deal with all that. I'm not saying I want them over there. But, they took the Iranians' side. It's their right. They've been there all these years. Well, they may be, but they're friends to no one. People like they're only friends with countries that, as long as you partner with them, or unless they want something from you, they're friends. If not, you're their enemy. Well, now all of them, I don't know. We use these phrases, and They're only true to a point. The more moderate Arab nations, and there are some. Jordan is one of those, although they're not caught up into this fight. Now, even the hardliners over there, they're finding out that the Iranians are not their friends either. They thought, oh, we'll use the Americans. We got some deals, but we're with you, you know. But we got to keep good relations here with the United States. Let's all get along. And then so they started bombing them. They're like, hey, wait a minute. Now you're hitting our energy supplies. Now I would suspect they will be armed sales more in the region because of this. Wait and see if that's not the next announcement, that there will be more arms sales to countries in the Middle East around that strait than ever before. There'll be more planes for sure, fighter planes and stuff that'll be sold, drone technology and all that. It will happen. The Iranians have said don't change the routes either. They didn't like it that we went near the Omani side. President come on board and bragged, we've been shipping oil out of there the whole time. We took a different route. Well, they didn't like that. The Iranians said, no, if you do that, we're going to strike. So they were mad about that. Omani said, hey, because now they're hitting Oman. They said, hey, Oman said, no, this is our waters. See, I'm sure that was how close it was. We got, without them saying it, I believe that's what I gather is the territorial waters of Oman. We've been working deals with them. Well, then the Iranians said, no, you're not going to do that. So that's where the talks are at today. The Iranians are saying we will, and we're saying you won't, and the war goes on. It may not be every day, but this is not over with. And it won't be over with until really Iran leadership is crushed to the point there's nothing left of the leadership. I mean, nothing. That the RGC will not back down. That's not in their mind. You'll just have to eliminate them. And I don't know what you have to do that, but you have to eliminate them to a point that nobody's going to stick their head up and say anything, and the people probably take over. And there is regime change. It's not going to happen with who's there now. I mean, they're still killing people in the streets, the public hangings, executions, torture, all that. There's the Iranian artist, who dared to bare her shoulders in public, and they were going to give her, 75 lashes in public. That's what you do them with. Again, people here take up for them, thinking that there's some sort of kumbaya existence experience in Tehran versus here. No, just like any other dictatorship over there, the next knock at the door might be you going away to never be seen again. That's what that is. Anyway, I don't care if people want to take up. That's their right. That's freedom. You have the right to think how you want. Of course, Israel and Lebanon, it's heated up. There's charges that Israel has hit some historic sites. That's the danger. Continued campaigns. So there's been some underground infrastructure destroyed in southern Lebanon. Some tunnels where there was I bet it was a massive explosion. And early July 4th, I imagine, because I don't know if it was deep enough that just felt it, but with all the armaments and everything they found that they detected in this tunnel, and they hit it hard. And I think they destroyed it, is the terminology being used in the news today. They destroyed the underground infrastructure where all this was at. I imagine that was an amazing sight to behold, and the feeling of that. Iran targets Bahrain and Kuwait following the U.S. strikes. Again, a couple of more moderate entities over there. Some of the Middle East partners, that's what they're called. What's the phrases we use today in business? Stakeholders. The stakeholders we have in the region. They just, they don't buy into the whole hard part of the deal. They like to be filthy rich and have their little country. It's vacation every day. They just like to have the money, the trappings of money, all the oil will buy, partner with others across the world. They don't have big militaries. They've had to get bigger because of the threats of neighbors. Kuwait was that way at one time. They've had to get a little stronger. By the way, we went all the way back to the Iraqi War, the first one. Remember that pilot for Kuwait? He like single-handedly was strafing the whole of the Iraqi military machine that was rolling in towards Kuwait to destroy their oil fields, or at least the mechanisms of it. Remember that? This guy, he was the only guy to get his plane off the tarmac. I mean, they had through bombings through. I mean, because they hit like a three-pronged attack. That was always their way. He got his plane up in the air, and he absolutely strafed single-handedly with bullets, bombs. You don't have but so many, but the whole of the road, the Baghdad Road or whatever that road was called, just littered with burning, destroyed machinery, men dead, burnt black, smoke, flames. The only thing that stopped him was he had to parachute out. He ran out of fuel. If he could have refueled, I think this guy might have defeated Iraq by himself. What a pilot. They held him for a long time. I think he lived through it. I don't know. They wanted to kill him. If I remember right. Talk about Top Gun. This guy, what a pilot. And I'm sure, if I remember right, it's probably an F-15. I don't remember. I don't remember if he was using them Russian or American made, but it's probably, I don't remember. But he was absolutely lighting up Iraq. I mean, Saddam Hussein was so mad before his plunge by rope years later. He was so mad. He was telling them, get this guy. I could hear the reports coming in. He's killing us. Our whole column is stopped. And they couldn't move. I mean, you can't run those things on the sand. Those trucks and stuff. I mean, you weren't made for that. So the column, I mean, oh man, this guy, awesome. He should never have to buy another beer the rest of his life. He hit the front of the column, stopped them cold. Then he just did flybys and he just lit them up. So, I'm sure soldiers were getting out and running for cover. What cover you got in the sand? He just tearing them up. What a guy. And then later there was an American. They were all in the same prison. And remember the wonderful sons? Well, they were wonderful. Uday and Qusay. What a pair. Proud Papa. Sodom, his boys. I think it was Qusay. They were both evil. Full of evil. Good morning, broski. I think it was Qusay who was worse than Uday. I don't remember. They were both, birds of a feather. Terrorists who strike together their own country, not even out there. They just hated their own people. He wanted to kill him. He walks in there with a pistol. He was going to kill the pilots. And there was a Iraqi Air Force general who was kind of over that because it involved pilots. So he was over that, and he couldn't tell him no. He'd just be shot in the head too. But it reminded him that they would lose international support if they violated the Geneva Convention. Imagine him using that. They actually demoted him a star, I think. Eventually, he was in the inner circle at one time. He was one of the guys in the green outfit sitting around the table, Sodom and his little, minions. He was one of them, and he was actually a Christian. I've read his book. He walked in there, he was going to kill him. I think it was an American, or I know it was the Kuwaiti pilot. It might be American or a British one, and he was going to kill him. He backed him off. He thought he was going to get killed for it. That's how bad they hated that guy because he was so good. I mean, he lit them up, but he got to parachute out. They got him. He crashed it in the desert. I don't remember which. But I know he ran out of fuel. They got him. They were going to kill him. What a pilot. How about having that on your record? Single-handedly, almost for a time, he single-handedly stopped the advance of the column of the Iraqis coming into Kuwait. What a guy. I mean, that's a guy I want to sit and talk to. Tell me about that. And he's the only one I remember that they destroyed all their planes. He got his up. And they hated that guy. He was, if we had the deck of cards like we had for them, on their deck of cards, he was number one. They wanted that guy bad. Broski, I hope things are well in Toronto. Toronto, north of the border. If you're there, you may be back or something. You may still be in transition across the border. I was talking to someone the other, just understanding. how things work for them. They're not a citizen here, although they have lived there here most of their life. Their parents came here, and they're on a. There's different ones. They came in under one, a residence card, I guess it is, and they've been able to redo that. I think it's every 3 years. I think it's 3 years, 2 to 3 years. I want to say three. They redo the card or the status, and they were able to get that, and they're from Guatemala. And you're moving at the end of the month, so much to do right now. I can't imagine, man. God bless you. I mean, God bless you. I can't even imagine all that you're going through. So anyway, and she's married, no kids. She's a Christian. In fact, I think she took off this past week. They were having a VBS at their church. I hope that well. I hope a lot of kids got saved. Anyway, she said that she is working towards her citizenship. She is a college graduate, might be going for a master's, not sure. She's worked hard. They work for our company, the parents as well. And the grandfather, I think it was the grandfather that actually um, originally was the one who brought the family. And he since has passed. He actually, when he retired here, whatever he did, he went back to Guatemala. He wanted to go back and, because he was older. And he remembered all the family there. They would go back for a visit. She'd been back a couple of times, I think, to see. But he wanted to go back home. They were worried about him wanting to stay. My understanding, they was worried about violence or just being there and them being here because all the family, immediate family, is here. And he wanted to go. So, you got people do what they want. But he ended up passing away there. So I was talking to her about the processes and stuff like that and what that's like. She goes to the federal courthouse in Chattanooga. There is one in Atlanta, obviously, but they live in not Dalton, which a lot of people around here do, but anyway, she goes there. I just thought it was interesting to talk to her about the inner workings of that, what that's like from her side, and what they have to do to continue to do that. So, they're here legally. They're not illegal. They're here to residency, and they let them redo that one. Um, and she works, and of course they're paying taxes. Like I said, they work for our company. And you know, and I said, "Are you going to do that?" Because I said, after all these years, she said, "Yes." She's young, but I mean, was very young when they came here. So she came in under her parents' official documentation, and was able to continue to. I don't know how you say that. I don't say grandfathered in. Maybe that's not even the right term, but was able to continue doing that. It's not what many call the green card. I don't think it's that. I think it's because there's different ways you can be here. Which Broski's dealing with that in going to Canada to work. He says, "Thanks, Dave. It's such a pain for me right now trying to organize and get everything done. My job is out of control as well. Oh, makes it tough. I deal with so much. I'm doing it all so I can be my fiance." Absolutely, man. The cost of love. Oh, you'll do, what was it, Brian Adams? I would do anything. No, was that Meatloaf? Which one's some that I would do anything for love? There's a lot of them love songs. Brian Adams certainly has some in his work, like Leopard, and worked with Mutt Lange. They wrote some ballads, some power ballads. That was Meatloaf, though, wasn't it? I would do anything for love. Wasn't that Meatloaf? What a character, Meatloaf. Remember the old show? I don't remember the name of the show. And you got Meatloaf over here, and you have oh my gosh, what's his name? By the way, his little video bites daily. This other guy, what is his name? They got into an argument on the show over paint supplies or something because they both just wigged out. I will have my work permit and I'll apply for my permanent residence when I get there. How long is a work permit good for in Canada? Canada. Is it months? Is it a year or two? Or how often until you get permanent residence? I was just curious. It's interesting how these things work. Gary Busey was the guy. I tell my brain. Anyway, Gary Busey and Meatloaf, they get into this huge argument on this show. I need to go back and find that clip. I mean, I bet Boosie's little video bites he does daily now. I mean, he's had a lot of health problems, but he's always been crazy. He's a good actor, great actor. Love a lot of his stuff. I mean, he was in Lethal Weapon, that well, at least one because he got killed. But a really talented actor. It's just crazy. Canadians are down bad right now. It seems like almost everyone there is seriously struggling. I understand. Well, they've got bad leadership too, man, and they just do. They've got bad leadership. Things are higher. I was talking to one of our race car owner driver interviewees a couple of weeks ago, and he was telling me that if you did the math, it's $1.36 they would pay versus the dollar here. So it's how much more for everything. So it would get expensive. For U.S. citizen with my title, 7 years. Oh, but I have it for less because I'm not planning on being there that long. Have to get mine extended after 3, but my goal is to be back in 2 years. I got you. Didn't realize that you could do it as much as 7 years under however you went in. That's not bad. There might even be in America, there might even be a 10-year one. Like I said, there's different levels to this, And, I think we probably have, because the United States, like any country, you go out and you get talent and you can fast track some of this stuff. And I think there's a 10-year one. And I'm thinking about scientists, engineers, someone that you really want to be here to help you get better at something. You recognize how you're going, hey, I will give you all these years. If you want to stay, then we'll work towards citizenship. We can, they can fast track that to a degree as well. I'm thinking of, I don't know what they did during the war. Maybe it was just a war thing, but remember all them German scientists that came and helped us develop, the atomic bomb. And they're all their offspring and all that's living here because we brought them here. We brought them in by the droves. And they had to come in under some kind of nobody ever told me what their designation was as they came in, but the government can do what they want to. I remember Trump, he was saying they said he couldn't do it, but he was going to charge $100,000 per whatever. I was looking at the Trump phone this morning. I remember they talked about that, and I didn't know that it was out. And a guy did a review on. It's basically just like another phone with slight modifications, and you can get. My understanding, I don't know what vendor you go through. It's a Droid, I guess, and it's like an HTC or whatever. But you go through. It's 40. What it said online, I'm sure they're not counting 911 fees, taxes, whatever. It's like $47 a month for unlimited talk, text, data. Unlimited. It's not a bad deal. I use iPhone though, and I don't think they offer that, but for the service, whoever you go through, but they're not selling as many of them as they said they were going to, or even are, but they're still selling a lot of them. So look for that to maybe take off. They're gold colored. I did see that. He likes that gold. He likes that gold, but it's gold colored, and you can get you a Trump phone. I remember that, and I thought, are they even selling those yet? On Fox News, they're talking about that the Democratic Socialists of America are setting sights on Colorado, Michigan, and Wisconsin after sweeping New York City primaries. This is a dangerous trend across America. I mean, they're now openly bragging. Good morning, Jake, as well. Sorry that we didn't have that one pulled up. Broski, your favorite group is Nickelback? Nickelback. Okay, I get it. And good morning to you. Sorry, I had that screen covered up. Jake, I hope you're well. Jake Hudson, 452. 452. But yeah, that the midterms we're not that far out. I mean, we are getting very, very close. There's still some primaries or runoffs rather, I think, that have happened. So They're bragging about their wins and looking to sweep. Of course, we know that Colorado and Wisconsin and Michigan have had major areas that have, went through very liberal. Oh my God, you remind me. Thank you. I want my nickel back, so I got you. Sorry. Yeah, I did. I mean, I was thinking of the bully. Opie, I want my nickel. So he went and got it. I don't like them either. I can't stand them either. I was thinking, why would Broski? I'm sorry. Da da da. We're getting. You should be seeing things much more regular here, and I'm not going to say there won't be a day here and there where I rearrange the schedule, but I felt like yesterday we just kind of kicking things in high gear. Made a lot of plans. So new show, noontime. It's going to be recorded because I'm at work. It's the Wolf Report, and we'll kind of talk about some things. There'll be some different kind of news too in there. There's a neat story on this today's edition at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. You might want to check out. It's good news, and it's an interesting thing from the UK actually. With all the problems they have going on, King's Hospital. It's a very cool story. Check that out. But we'll cover sports and news and different things. It'll be about 30 minutes, 25, 30 minutes long. That's supposed to be a daily. And don't forget First Live, which comes on right before this show. It's recorded as well, sometimes live. And probably by tomorrow, I've got to correct on one little thing. Biscuit Boy and his wife now have done one. They're going to start doing one a week, I think. And it's intended to be that, that we have different voices. They did a wonderful job, very anointed. We'll try to have that up tomorrow. I got to do a little bit of, I'm training Biscuit Boy. He did a good job. We got to work on their camera a little bit. They had, I think maybe it was the switching. They were outside. Maybe it's having a little hard time with the light. Just in the middle of it, you can still see them, but it dims a little bit. And he'll hate that. I don't. It was wonderful though. And first light Monday through Friday, 5:30. Then the morning show with me. Then at noon. Eventually, we'll have more programming. Other people will be doing. It's a network. It's intended to be 24/7. But yeah, we're adding some things in. Don't forget to go and get into the contest. Go to Substack. There it is on the screen. Become a free subscriber. You're in the contest. That ends midnight. We did have another one join yesterday. You get the Yeti mug. You can get the coffee. By the way, the new coffee mug, I'll show it again for the network. Boy, don't that look good. $15 in the store. Now that's just working through me. It's not technically in our store, but I did have it made up. I had them shipped in. We got another order going in. It looks great. That's our banner one. We have our regular logo as well. It's a good looking cup. I'm drinking my coffee this morning out of it. I gifted myself one since I paid for it out of my pocket. They were great though. Everybody's loved them. Biscuit Boy has one. Chaser. Jer Wolf. Oh, I forgot to. Yeah, I did mention him this morning. Jer Wolf. I think I gave one more. I don't remember. I want to say also I really enjoyed our new friend that come along with Dean. Kind of. I don't even know if they had ever met. Remember Mr. Shroom? We call him Shroom. Come in the sports show. He'll be back. He had a great time. He's followed us. Thank you for that. If you're watching, we had a great time with him. Brought a lot to the table. We had a great time. That was a big fun Friday night. We had a lot of fun with that. My intention is to get the history show, the music show back up this week, and then by next week have the event show back up. That's the hope. We'll see. All the other programming, all the little doggies are right in a row. I think everything else, and the pet show. We got to get that back up too. Talk to Jim this week and see what we can do on that. Just a little news and notes. I saw this. I don't have time to cover all the stories I would like today, but this Texas family of four is suing. Hold on. Let me kill that. Stop. A family of a Texas family of four is suing after the man was allegedly fatally crushed by the preventable failing of a diseased pecan tree while he was eating at a barbecue restaurant. This is something you don't hear about every day. Kurt Foyle, 64, died on May 19th when a tree fell on him at Green's Mesquite Barbecue in Austin. According to the lawsuit from Fox 7 reported down there, the tree was hanging over an outdoor patio area where Foyle was eating as storms moved through the area. The tree, which is referred to in the complaint as a quote-unquote widowmaker, was located at 1410 Barton Springs Road, but parts of the tree extended into Green Mesquite's outdoor patio area where Foyle was seating, according to the outlet. The tree was allegedly never properly inspected by restaurant staff or management at a neighboring business, Aspen Hatter. The spot being located owner in part on property owned and controlled by the businesses, according to the lawsuit. The complaint alleges that staff at the two local businesses allowed the tree, which allegedly showed signs of disease, to rot and decay without warning. Customers are taking action to maintain it or remove it. The lawsuit names Green Mesquite Barbecue and nearby property owners as defendants. Defendants knew or in the exercise of reasonable care should have known of the dangerous disease, decayed, or structurally comprised condition of this tree and failed to inspect, maintain, remove, or warn of its dangerous condition, the complaint said. Sounds like they probably get a little case here. Who knows? It's just one of those things you don't ever think of. We were eons ago. I was working with a friend, and he was doing some, and I was going to work with him in sales, and I did a little bit. I actually got him a $30,000 contract or to do a job, but I was working a lot myself, and we didn't really have time to extend it, but I didn't help him make some money. What we were doing is a lot of your, and he got licensed to be an inspector. And what we did is we contacted, and nowadays, back then, I don't know how much people were thinking about it, but there was, in the code and everything, your playgrounds. And you've seen a lot of them update in these last few years, but a lot of times playgrounds are just playgrounds. But there's a lot of code to those playgrounds, the landing, what you land on, how close you are to structures and things like that, the condition of the playground equipment and all that. So I became just a front person for him of sales that we could come in and he could license, he could sign off, inspect, and give. And that also generated business because he had the business where he would come in and do the work. And we went to one of the first places that I got him some business, who eventually had him build a $30,000 building on the property. We went out and noticed that, or I did, and I brought him in as a follow-up, and we got to do some work for them. The rusty chains on the playground equipment at a school, they were horrible. And also the landing, which they had some, but it had been allowed to really go downhill. And so we ended up, or he did when he come in, he redid that. He redid all the chains, and that was at the most maybe a $200 or $300 deal. But he was able to come in then and do whatever he charged for that. That was probably included, which that's back in the 90s. That's not a bad deal. You walk out and put a few chains on and probably a little bit of landing. Not a lot of people getting away from mulch and stuff. They're doing rubber and different kinds of landing zones. But in the process of that conversation, he ended up getting a nice business, some work out of that. And my point is on that, you think of churches. If you are a church that has a playground, you need to keep it locked off if you can. For people in the area that come play on your church property, they get hurt. You're getting sued. They can find anything wrong. And I dealt with this. One of the churches I had, we had just a little playground area. And you hate to do it, but kids would come when we weren't there. And it was gated. We just had to start shutting the fence and securing it when we weren't there. And you hate that. But that's the world, and that's what happens. And I told them, I said, it was a little bit, I think they thought I was a nut, but I did get them to secure it because we didn't have a proper landing zone. And I said, they thought, oh, that's hogwash. And I was like, well, if you get sued, which lit their eyes up a little bit, I said, you could get sued. If a kid, even though they said, well, they weren't supposed to be here, I said, you could still get sued. That's the way it is. So you need to inspect that. And I could see if a tree was diseased and and storms. There was a trailer park in the region a few years ago. We'd had some storms come through, and there were a lot of trees that went down. And it was one of those wind events more than rain or anything else, and it knocked over. There was a lot of trees got knocked down in the area. I mean, it was a heavy storm, and I had to have work done on my house. I mean, they put a hole in the side of the house. I mean, it was a tremendous wind event. But anyway, there was this trailer park, and they had all these pine trees that were just all around these trailers. And people were getting leery about staying there. Like, I got trees right next to my trailer. And so they paid a company. They paid a company to come in there and cut them all down because they were afraid they would come down on those trailers because it was just littered. So they ended up and I hate the trees were cut down, but that's what they were afraid of. They're afraid of getting sued. So, I mean, that happens. There's an answer for everything, but you do have to look at it. I don't know if they'll win the case or not, but somebody's going to be, probably, I don't know what they call it, a widowmaker. I mean, that's lawyer speak for that, but you have to be careful. Broski says, my middle school made us stop playing pickup football there after school hours because too many injuries. They enforce it too. And that's another great point. And when I was doing security once near one of the schools, I saw, and I hated to do it because it's in a urban area, and I figured I'd get a lot of flack. And I wasn't trying to be that kind of guy, but I was thinking they're not supposed to be here. And I didn't stay there the whole time. I patrolled. It was a patrol, so they could have came back. But I knew they didn't want them there, and I mentioned it. At least I asked them if they had permission from the athletic director to be on the property, and they said they did. And I said, okay, I'll just call him. I didn't even have his number. I said I could have called somebody and had them call him, but I said, I'm going to call him, just verify. And they said, no, hey, you called her bluff. We're out of here. But you're right. Yeah, you start getting hurt, you're going to become liable, and that's what happens. And I mean, the innocence of our youth, Broski, we did stuff like that. I remember we used to, during the summer, we would go. We actually, though, did have the law come once. We were playing on a flat. We played on the football field. We did that too. One time we were playing, they locked the football field, so we played on the back field. It was just a field. It wasn't nothing left. I mean, it was just a grassy area. The law showed up and said, what are y'all doing? Like, this is not property. You can just show up and have a pickup football game. So there was a church across the street, and I think we used to go there a lot. And they didn't think about it because they didn't even know we were there. But that's what happens. You have to be careful of those things. So, absolutely. Oh, my goodness. All right. Well, I got to get off here. It's work time. Thanks for everybody being here. And we'll see you tonight. It's not racing tonight. It'll be whatever suits my fancy. We'll probably do some news, PNN news, definitely some sports, and then maybe something else. We'll see. I got to get the morning stuff. I got a little bit of stuff to do. We have some meetings going on where I've got different meetings going on with different groups to take the network further in the future. We're working towards getting our own app and stuff like that. So just to give you a little heads up, we're talking to different companies and seeing what they can offer and can we afford it. So we hope to have those kinds of things in the near future by the end of the year. So pray for us as we grow. And we add new equipment. This old knucklehead can make it all work. Because I'm the kind of the brainchild that brings all that together and then trains everybody else. But happy Monday. Have a great Monday. Broski, I can't wait for you to get moved, not because I want you to leave it. You can be our man on the street in Toronto. I look forward to the stories. I can see. I'm coming to you from the local pub. We're down here on the corner of such and such street and such street. And we're sitting in a cafe or beer joint, whatever. Take care. We'll see you tonight.
Up all night. Why does it hurt?